Welcome back to the Tunnel Walk Talk. I am your host, Emmett. Today we will be going over the Akron postgame, and the Houston Christian preview. Saturday, Nebraska blew out Akron, 68-0. First shutout since Arizona in 2009. Nebraska had 8 straight scoring drives. Not only scoring drives, but drives that ended in touchdowns. Let's go over the stats. First downs, Nebraska had 31. Akron only had 13. We were 8 for 10 on third down. Akron was 1 for 14. It was late in the game, late game yardage. Nebraska was 0 for 1. It was a goal line, tush push kind of play. Arbig was under center. Akron was 1 for 2. We had 730 total yards. They only had 175. Pass yards, we had 494. And they only had 62. We completed 80% of our passes between Gramstad, TJ, and Dylan. Akron was only 39% passing. Our average completion was 12.4 yards. Theirs was only 2.7. Rushing, we had 236 yards rushing. They only had 113. We had 32 rushing attempts. They had 36. We averaged 7.4 yards a carry, and they averaged 3.1 yards a carry. We had 6 penalties for 71 yards. They only had 1 for 5. It was a holding call they had pretty early in the game. Nebraska only had 1 fumble. It was lost. It was on the goal line by Emmett Johnson. Just a good hit type of deal. There was not much you could do about it. He had fairly good ball security. They had 0 turnovers. Time of possession was fairly close. We had 30 minutes, 10 seconds, and they had 29 minutes, 50 seconds. So it was almost pretty even split. Player stats for Nebraska. Dylan Raiola at 12 for 31, 364 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Also with 3 rushes for 13 yards. TJ looked outstanding in this game. I am excited for what the future holds with him. He looked like a generational talent out there. There's a reason why he's number 2 on the step chart. He was 6 for 7, 128 yards. Fun fact, which is more yards than Mark Gronowski at Iowa has had all season. He averaged 18.3 per attempt. He had 2 rushes for 17 yards. Gramstad was 2 for 2, 2 yards. Nothing, a couple screen passes that only went for a yard. Average 1. Emmett Johnson had 14 carries for 140 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 fumble. He had a long of 47. Clinton Ives had 4 carries, 34 yards, 1 touchdown, long of 28. Kenneth Williams had 1 carry for 15 yards at the end of the game. I like Kenneth Williams. I think he needs to be getting in the rotation a lot. He's the fastest running back, or most, I wouldn't say versatile running back, but he's definitely the fastest. Our wide receivers, I only included a couple guys here. Corey had 7 catches for 132 yards, no touchdowns, 18.9 average per catch. Long of 39. And Isaiah had 4 catches for 82 yards, 20.5 was his average per catch. A long of 36. Isaiah Mosley, he looked outstanding coming out of that flex position where Wood played. He had 3 catches for 65 yards, 21.7 average. He kept his legs moving the entire game, regardless of when he got in. He was hard to bring down. I really hope I see more of that of him this year. Luke Lindenmeyer and Quinn Clark both caught their first touchdown passes of their career. Dane Key was the only other receiving touchdown in the offense. The defense leading tackle was Cade Petsack. He's a freshman out of Fargo, North Dakota. Highly, highly talented guy. Very, very raw, though. I think he's going to make his way into the 3 deep in the next coming weeks and potentially push to start. He had 4 tackles, 3 solo, 2 TFLs. One of those was a safety, I believe. Maverick Noonan had 1 fumble recovery. We didn't get any picks this game, which they didn't throw the ball a whole hell of a lot. Kenneth Williams had 2 kick returns for 42 yards, 21 on average. Jacory on the punt returns had 4 for 87, 21.8 average. That was our highest return yardage per game in a long time. Ashton Murphy was the only one with the sack. We should have had one earlier with Desan McCullough, but it got taken down because of a face mask penalty. He just touched his face mask is all that happened there. It was kind of a stupid penalty in my opinion. The Akron offense, they did not look great at all. Ben Finley was 7 for 21, had 54 yards. Less than 50%. I think it's only about 39%, roughly. Sean Patrick was their leading rusher with 12 carries for 64 yards. Marcel Williams, 2 catches for 28 yards. They had two fumbles, 1 lost. Under the Houston Christian preview, Houston Christian is 1-1. They beat Arkansas Baptist in the first week, 69-0. That's an NAI school, basically a JUCO school. The quarterback, Jake Weir, he has 295 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick on the season. He's a Mississippi State transfer. He's a redshirt senior. He's 6'2", 210 pounds. He does not run. I expect the Nebraska defense to get 5 sacks. If they don't have at least 5 sacks on the guy that doesn't run, we have some major issues. Zayshawn Edwards, I think is how you say his name. He has 27 carries for 200 yards, 4 touchdowns, 7.4 on average. Darrell Evans is their other running back. He's 6 foot, 180 pounds. They're both super small guys. He has 33 carries for 128 yards and 3 touchdowns, a 3.9 average. They have another guy. His name is, his last name's Bozier. Champ Bozier is his name. He got banged up pretty good in one of the last 2 games. I don't expect him to see him much at all, if any. The leading receiver is Thomas Gray Jr. It's Marcus Gray Jr. He is a freshman. He's 6'2", 180 pounds. He's the leading receiver with 10 receptions for 80 yards, no touchdowns. Defensive highlights, there's not much to highlight on defense. Their linebacker, Rodney Dansby, 6 foot, 220 pounds, had 130 tackles his freshman year. He is now a senior. He's kept up that production all 3 years up until now. He's an absolute ball hawk. He's what we expect Marcus Watson Trent to be, is how I describe him. Trent Zappi, he's another linebacker. That's Bailey Zappi's younger brother, actually. He's 6 foot, 220 pounds. Didn't find much on him. I just thought that was a cool thing that his brother's in the NFL and he's playing at Houston Christian of all places. Like I said, they don't have a lot of standout players on defense. They got one uh, guy that's a lockdown corner. I don't think he'll probably be manned up on, I'd imagine, Dane Key and Isaiah Hunter most of the game. I don't think he's going to cover Jacory at all. I think this is going to be a good game receiving for tight ends just because of the linebacking core is one of the slowest I've ever seen. I was scrolling through YouTube today trying to find stuff on them other than what ESPN has, and I couldn't find much, but they had their best running backs and their best linebackers doing mini drill during a camp. Their running backs were absolutely burning their linebackers. They had zero pursuit angle. There's no reason why we shouldn't have 20-plus broken tackles for sure. And then again, our tight ends should have a pretty big week this week. They love to run the ball. They're going to come out and run heavy offense. They only throw the ball if they need to. Game summary and prediction. Houston Christian at Nebraska. It's 11 a.m. kickoff on Fox Sports 1, I believe. We should have no problem blowing this team out just like we did at Akron. I do not expect this game to be a shutout. I think they're going to get some extra garbage time points, kind of how Akron should have gotten a couple times. The Huskies shouldn't be able to move the ball on us. They haven't had any drives past the 50 really, except for a few big runs. That's about it. That went for touchdowns. I expect them to play 100-plus players again this week. They played 105 last week. I expect the young guys to be in very, very early. I don't think the starters will be in long, mainly to rest them for Michigan next week. Now, I don't think they should sleep on this team. This team could very well come in and upset us. It's happened before, and I don't see why it couldn't happen again. I'm not predicting that it will. I think they're going to win big, but besides the two running backs, they don't have much. But then again, they could have Champ back, and he could shock us a little bit. So run defense is not good. Another thing I have a note on is Emmett Johnson. We need to figure out running back too. If he's getting 25, 30 carries a game, by the end of the Michigan State game, he's going to be hurt. He's not a workhorse back. We need to have a rotation going. We need. I don't even give a shit if it's Vincent Janatone that just recently went to the running back room, Kenneth Williams, Connor Booth, a freshman, even Isaiah Mosey. I don't care who it is. They need to find a bona fide number two to rotate in and out of this lineup. If they have two or three guys, great. That's just more spread out and rested that these guys can be and have a more firepower of a running game. Bold prediction for this week. We'll have 5+ sacks. I don't see why we won't. I think we will have 250 yards rushing. I think this week's going to be a huge rushing week for us. We figured out a pass last week, and I think we're going to try to see if we can't find a bona fide number two this week. And my third one is we'll have another 700-plus yard game this week. There's no reason why we shouldn't. Score prediction, I think Nebraska wins 56-3. Like I said before, I think they get a garbage time field goal or something in there. They shouldn't, but I think they end up doing that. Games around the country this week that I've got my eye out on. K-State at Arizona. Arizona's only favored 1.5. By what I've seen from K-State so far, and Donovan Edwards out. I think's his name, the running back. Pretty sure he's still out. I do have Arizona winning that game and covering. New Mexico at UCLA. UCLA's favored 15.5. That is way too much for Nico and the god-awful team they've got. They are not good whatsoever. I would not be shocked if New Mexico came in and beat the living shit out of them. I do think New Mexico covers that 15.5. I think they're giving too much there. I know it's at the Rose Bowl. It's hard to play in, but this team is not put together. I do have UCLA winning, though. New Mexico covers 15.5. UCLA winning. Another interesting game this week is number 12, Clemson at Georgia Tech. Clemson is favored 3.5 on the road. Georgia Tech is going to win this game. I think Haynes King and Jamal Haynes is a good running back, quarterback rushing duo. I think they're going to run all over Clemson. That team has not looked good this year. And my game of the week, also South Florida at number 5 Miami. Miami's favored 18.5. That's giving way too much to South Florida. After what I've seen in week 1 with Boise State blowing them out 30-47, and then going into Gainesville last week to the Swamp and beating Florida on a last-second field goal. I'm actually picking South Florida to win this game. I think they got a fiery offense and a stout defense that very well could lead them to an upset this week. After what I've seen the last 2 weeks, I am high on Florida this year. I think they're a dark horse G4 team to make the playoffs. Wouldn't be surprised if they make the playoffs and upset a first-round team. The game of the week this week I have is number 6 Georgia at Tennessee. Georgia's favored 3.5. I don't think Tennessee is going to have a shot in this game. I think it'll be within a touchdown, within a one-score game, but Joey Aguilar and company, Georgia's defense is too much for them to handle. I do have Georgia winning that game. That being said, have a great rest of your week. Go Big Red.